Hi, this is Morgan from Luciferian Wisdom, and I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to play all of the main riffs from the track The Ritual, the title track of our debut EP. So, after the acoustic introduction, which I've done a separate video on, you have the first main riff, which is this very relaxed Opeth style sort of chord strumming riff, and it sounds like this. And that just repeats that many times in the track. Excuse me. It's the main verse riff. The first thing you'll need to play it is a guitar in C# standard tuning. So all the tracks on The Ritual, all of the Luciferian Wisdom tracks, are tuned to C# standard. So you're a C# standard tuning guitar. This is in C# standard tuning, but from this point on, I'm going to refer to it as if it is in E standard to make your lives and my life easier, so no one has to transpose anything in their head. So when I play the lowest E string, the lowest string open, I'm going to call it E. Call it the E string. I would call this a G major chord, just for ease, even though actually that's an E major chord because of the tuning. But we're going to ignore that, and we're gonna move on. So the first riff is essentially this F# minor to C#7, a 1-5 thing. 1 to 5 to 1 to 5. The F# minor voicing here is an F# minor 9. So basically you just need to stretch your pinky across whilst barring the chord as you would usually play it. I just swap from these two fingers to these two to do this. So I'm barring the 2nd fret, and I'm playing the 4th fret of the A string and the 6th fret of the D string. And that's a nice mysterious sounding chord, very Blue Oyster Cult. So that's the first chord, which sounds really thick and sort of big because it's so distorted, so it's a bit hard to hear what's exactly in it. And the second chord is just a D diminished 7th chord. And if I just move this D note, this root down, this note down a half step, you'll see that actually it's the same note. If I take this D and make it a C# as a C# dominant 7th chord. So actually what I'm doing here is I'm playing this D diminished 7th chord, which is acting as a sort of rootless minor 9 voicing of the 5 chord. But that's not important. The important thing is that this D diminished 7th chord is acting as if it is just the 5 chord of F# minor. So we're just going from 2, but in a bit more of a sophisticated way of doing it. And the bass guitar is still playing C#, so it's really clear exactly what it's acting as and how it's functioning. But that D, that flat 9, just gives it a little bit of extra crunch, a little bit of extra nastiness. So that's the first riff. After you do that twice, it then goes into the growled section with a tremolo picked riff that sounds like this. And then it goes back into the first riff again. There are two guitars, one on the left, one on the right. One of them is playing, it's like a harmonic minor thing. It starts on the 6th, it starts on a D, then C#, B, A, F, G#, E#, F#, or F#, if you prefer. Doesn't matter how you say it, it matters that you play the right note. And the other guitar is mostly harmonizing in thirds of that. So the other guitar goes. So it starts on this F#, this goes down the scale, But then the last two notes actually plays a C, then C sharp. So the last two notes are like a power chord. It's harmonized in fifths, so it's harmonized in thirds, 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 fifth, fifth. Gives it like a... if those come together. And you just tremolo pick those parts. And then the last time, every other time you have a sharp 7 into the 1, harmonic minor thing. The last time it plays a power chord and goes back into the first section, plays this E power chord, F, back into the F sharp. So it's like a bluesy. That type of thing. And it goes back into that section. That's the lead in. So that's how you play the second main riff of the ritual. Right. The third main riff of the ritual is this groovy riff that mixes Phrygian dominant and a sort of blues scale thing. So it mixes minor with Phrygian dominant, which is one of the things that I do a lot with Luciferian Wisdom. Happens a lot in my riffs. So it's just a low F sharp, then just some dead notes. Then you go up to the fifth, flat 5 to 5 trill, and that ends on the third. So that happens 3 times. It's a very bluesy riff. 2nd fret, 4th fret, trill from 3 to 4, back to 3 of the A string, and then back down to the 5th fret of the E string. And then last time it goes, which is a Phrygian dominant idea. So the 1, the flat 2, and the major 3. It goes F sharp, G, A sharp, B, back down. If you wanted, you could play 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 6th fret on the low E string, and then the 2nd fret of the A string, and back down, which is what I do. But on the bass, I actually played, because of the larger frets and the larger scale length, it was a bit more of a tricky stretch to do that. So it would be fine if you played it 2nd, 3rd on the low E, and then 1st, 2nd, and back on the A string. That would be absolutely fine. Then there's a sort of break and there's a drum fill. And then after that, break and drum fill, the second time, there is a guitar solo. And the guitar solo I'll go over in more detail in a separate video. But underneath the guitar solo, we're following the exact same progression as before, this 1-5 thing, but it's in much more of a sort of caveman-y way. So it's just this F sharp power chord, 1-5-1, so a 3-string power chord. Then it goes up to an inverted power chord of the 5 chord. So that looks like the 4th fret of the low E, 4th fret of the A, and 6th fret of the D. So this one has a 5th in the bass. So you have the sort of lowest note on the same string. But this is just the exact same progression. And then the last time, one of the guitars plays and the other guitar, so that's a D diminished 7th chord we used before, just arpeggiated. Then it goes up a half step to an E flat diminished 7th chord. And again, what you would notice is that E flat diminished 7th chord, the fact that we go up actually modulates, it changes key so that we can finish the song out in this E minor, or actually C sharp minor heavy riff. So that's one guitar. The other guitar does that 1/3 up. Because a diminished 7th chord is symmetrically invertible, all the intervals between the notes of the chord are exactly the same. You can just put everything up a minor third. You can just slide the whole shape, the whole chord shape, up in minor thirds infinitely. So this one starts in the F, same shape of chord, and it just goes up, and it does the second one as well. And again, this F sharp, diminished 7th chord, is still just behaving as a B dominant 7th chord that would allow us to nicely resolve into E minor. And that's what happens, because you finish with that, and everything stops, and a clean guitar comes in and plays the final riff, which is the last riff of the song. It's played in the clean guitar twice, and then the heavy guitars join in. The clean guitar keeps going for the whole track, and the track ends with the clean guitar playing that same riff again. Just continues doing it, and the heavy guitars sort of come in on top of it, and you have some vocals, and you have some organ, synth choir, lots and lots of sort of textural things to build up to this really big ending. And this is probably my favorite riff of the song. So it's a low E string, then I slide into the 4th fret of the D string, into that major set, into that second, so the 2nd degree of the scale, and hit the open G string, and you get this minor 2nd ringing out together. And the key with this is to try and keep all the notes that you play ringing out as long as possible. So everything's ringing out together. Open E, 4th fret D, G, open G, 4th fret D again. And then goes D, C, B, C. That's 5, 3, 2, 3 on the A string. And that's 3rd of the low E string, so that's a G. And it goes to the 2nd of the A string, the B, then back to the 3rd of the low E, then to the 2nd of the low E. And here, just really bend it up really slowly. It's a very slow doom influenced section, so just bend it up extremely slowly to get the sort of most sort of crunchy, atmospheric, heavy sound you possibly can. And you can play those 2 higher strings. And that's the entirety of the ritual. So now you know how to play it. Thank you very much for watching. Go and stream The Ritual. It is available on Bandcamp and all major streaming services.